Mindaugas.
Hello.
Okay, so now screen is yours. Please share your presentation and we will be.
Yeah, just a second. Let me, I think that should, oh, I see. Rightio. I think that should work. Just a second. I just updated my team, so.
It happens all the time.
Yep. Let me see if I think. Oh, sorry, I've shared a different screen.
So?
Yes, I'll share this one then, and I can see. Let's start. Is it working?
Yes, we can see your final view of the presentation. So please, screen is yours.
Okay, so thank you very much for this opportunity for the Vilnius University, of course, Ilona. And today I'm here from the company Celonis, and we specialize in process mining, which allows to turn the data obtained from business IT systems into some real actual value that businesses can utilize and use to improve their revenues. I don't know if you have heard about process mining, but it hasn't been around for that long. It started about 10 years ago or so. And Celonis, as a was the first company to actually successfully bring process mining to the market, because before that, it was just a topic in academia that existed. And we have been, as a company, consistently ranked as the best platform for process mining. And you can see how we compare to our competitors based on the Gartner's report over here that analyzed all the process mining platforms that are out there. And this year, the report just came out. This is where we placed compared to SAP Signavio, or for example UiPath, or even Microsoft and IBM is up and coming here. So if you're thinking about process mining and you want to use the best tool, Celonis would be your best bet as a platform for that. Now, who uses process mining? Where is it relevant? In fact, half of Fortune 500 companies from the US use Celonis for the process mining to improve the business's processes and obtain data on the business processes. There's some examples of our clients and divided by the industry sector. So you can see that it is quite relevant application that businesses do use. For example, why would they use that? As you can see, here's some of the benefits that happen when businesses use process mining in general. So for example, if you look at the analysis on business inefficiencies and where businesses lose money, usually they lose about 20 to 30% of the revenue because their processes are not efficient. And this has been a problem before the process mining. And if you have a look, just for example, for Siemens during the Corona time, we helped them automate the processes and they managed to save 300 million. With the BP, just on the procurement process, they managed to save 800 million as well, just a few years ago. This is just some examples of the savings that companies obtain from using process mining and extracting data. Now, how does process mining work, right? Basically, what you have a business where processes occur. So it could be travel, logistics, communications, whatever is happening here in the business. Even your mobile phones and computers, they all generate data because businesses use different IT systems like SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, and so on. Like the data is there. So the data is generated, and the idea is to obtain the relevant data, use data science to actually empirically understand and analyze that data and understand what is the process that happens in reality, because the traditional sort of look at process management in a business was you go and ask people. Maybe you will set up some KPIs and try to analyze them. And that was a really lengthy process. And everybody knew that it had a lot of problems. You wouldn't get a lot of objective information from that. And you just have sort of a rough idea of what's going on in your business, and you will sort of go with that. But there's no precise sort of insight. So it was quite difficult to make good decisions or actually predict what will happen in your process. And process mining changed all that because it obtains the empirical data, right, from the actual processes that happen and are recorded in your IT systems, and analyzes it and allows you to actually really improve this part here. And as a result, at the end of the day, improve the business revenue from 20 to 30%, which is not a small saving if you consider the value. Now, on one hand, we have the data, right? But to actually use process mining as a technology, it's not enough just to understand the data science. You need to also understand process science, or it's called management science, operations research as well. And there's a lot of involved. So it's an interdisciplinary approach. We combine process science and data science. And what happens, basically, process mining, if you want, it's sort of like data mining, but applied for the needs of analyzing processes. And it's the missing link between the two disciplines. This is the thing that connects process science and data science and makes it actually of some sort of practical value for businesses that can actually increase their revenues by quite a bit. Now, to give you a top-down view of what is process mining and how it works. So I'm not going to go into a detail, but just to give you an understanding, everything, of course, starts with your IT systems, which is like Oracle, SAP, could be your email, whatever, even a custom-built system. You don't need to have sort of off-the-shelf standard system installed. It could be custom-built. And what we want to do, we want to extract the data, and more specifically, the event log. And then we'll look at the event logs. We need to understand what is going on, sort of analyze it, clean it, and then we can generate a process model automatically, which is really impressive. We can look at that model, and we can actually adjust the model and tell the software, okay, this is the model we want to use. So based on what we see, what's going on. And then we can throw more data at the particular model, and then we can diagnose where are the problems, where are the issues, where things don't work. So, and also we can look at why they don't work, if we have actually additional data, which usually is the case. And once we understand our processes, we can actually implement solutions, and we can predict what will happen to our revenue or a particular way of doing things in business, and how it will affect the bottom line, the efficiency, the speed. So you can actually improve things, and you also can do comparative process mining. So you can compare different processes at different times, at different locations, at different departments, for example, if you have the same process, even comparing by the age of, for example, the person responsible who's performing the process, you might have different variants. And in the end, this allows you to sort of act and transform your business processes, so your businesses run efficiently, and you can better actually manage your business in case the situation changes, like for example, when Corona happened and you have to restructure your business processes because of logistics issues and other things. So increases business responsiveness to the environmental changes out there in the world. Okay, now these are just the steps that I described and basically what they're called. step-by-step process delivery, conformance checking, performance analysis, comparative process mining, where we compare, so predicting if you implement changes, what will happen or what's happening with a particular order when it starts, for example, and action-oriented process mining. So this is where you implement the insights that you find out and you actually change your business structure and organization. Everything starts with the data, of course, extracting data, and the data is usually extracted and organized in terms of event logs, and that's event data, which basically just tables and tables and tables. If you know database management, is just like massive SQL tables. And the most difficult task is actually obtaining that data, extracting it from the system, and looking at it, cleaning, understanding what you're looking at, filtering it, and making it so it can be processed. And what you are looking ideally is for events, and what you call an event would be a case, an activity, and the timestamp. So for example, here you can have additional data, which does give you more insight, but this is not necessarily to do sort of a case-centric classical process mining. And to give an example, so this is order to cash process, which means your customer comes in and places the order with your company, and what happens to the order from the time that the customer asked to place the order to the time where you actually delivered the order, so the whole logistics thing, and you got paid for it, so, and also the payment, right? There are quite a number of steps that could be involved. And the way it's done, so we just take the case ID, for example, and we'll look what steps the order took, and we arrange them based on the sequence on the timestamp information. And we can do it for different order IDs, and we can see that we come up with three different variants of the same process. So you have your, so to speak, a process model for this. And we actually can do this for large data sets. And if you analyze large data sets, this is, for example, a data set where it has 70,000 events. This is actually really small. If you look at the real process data, this is comparatively very, very small, and it's just a very basic example. What you find out that when you build the process model, you see that you have just 5 different process variants. And here you can see the number of traces that each process variant has been used. And Celonis does this automatically. You don't need to model it manually, which is in a lot of times the case with other process mining platforms, right? So it just gives you the process model right there, and you can analyze it and look at it automatically. And you can also adjust the process model, so you can decide how you want your process to follow, and then throw more data at it in order to really understand what is going on there. And once you're looking at this process, you can look at the performance issues. So where does the process doesn't work, where it stops, where it breaks down, where it slows down. So this is what you call bottlenecks. And also you can look at compliance issues. So basically, where is the process? It might be working, but people might not be doing what you want them to do. So they're breaking certain rules, maybe risk management policy or maybe legal requirements. So these are really, really important issues for businesses to see that you might not always obtain just by asking people, hey, what do you do in your process, right? So this allows you a really sort of precise understanding of business processes based on the data that you have in your systems. This is something that businesses really value. Now, it's not without a problem. So the classical process mining approach, it's what we call case-centric process mining. And actually, the biggest problem is actually picking the case identifier To give you an example, an Amazon example, I think you've all used Amazon. You have orders, you have items, you have packages, and also you have a delivery route. Now, in one order, you can have multiple items, right? So, and you can have 3 orders, and you can have 7 items. You can end up with, and these items could be placed in 4 different packages, and they could be used to deliver with 3 different routes. And picking the case identifier, it's really difficult thing, because if you pick, for example, the order, right, the items will disappear because you just follow the order. Now, if you do the reverse, if you pick, for example, the items, you will duplicate the activity for the order, right? So you get the order 3 times. And if you pick a particular route, for example, these activities will disappear. So this is the difficulty with case identifiers. And if you look at the data system as well, if you're looking at the objects, for example, you can actually also have a customer as well. And these are the 3 main problems. So deficiency, when the items, when it disappears, certain activities, you can't see certain activities. Convergence, when you have, for a convergence problem, when you have a duplication of events. So because one order contains 2 items, so what will happen, the activity of placing an order will be duplicated twice. Or divergence, which is the opposite. Like if you pick the order, so for example, the items seem to be related, and they will sort of disappear. They will merge into one. So this is called divergence problem. And the classical process mining used what's called directly follows graph, DFG, and this was what it looked like, and the solution was for the data analyst to understand business processes, exactly how it works, how to analyze business processes, and sort of build different analysis based on different case identifiers. However, recently, we managed to solve this problem by introducing object-centric process mining, which basically rethinks how you model your processes. Different relationships, for example, so you follow the objects like orders, and an order can have multiple items, which is indicated by the 2 arrows, and you have the activities, and you also have a package that can have multiple items, and you can look at it and analyze it deeper. So this is a recent thing that we introduced, which represents reality a lot better in our IT systems, so we can model processes the way they really happen, rather than putting it in a simple graph. This is something that we started to introduce for our customers, and our customers are already using it. It's not yet available on the free demo software, but we're hoping that soon it will be. If you want to understand a little bit more about object-centric process mining, so this is not the case-centric process mining, object-centric process mining. Here are the references that you can have a look. We have the white paper by Professor Will van der Aalst, who is the chief scientific advisor for our company. And he is actually the godfather of process mining. He is the leading scientist in this field and the pioneer. And our company is basically representation or application of his work in the industry. Now, let's speak a little bit about AI, because everybody likes AI and it's a new thing. And the idea is, can we use AI for process mining, and does it work? Do you need process mining platform if you have AI? Well, in fact, it's not that easy to do process mining with AI, because you have a lot of input data, and normally AI sort of you need to pick a target and you focus on specific things that you want AI to do, but when you're looking at process mining, It's not exactly that, because when you're looking at process mining, you want something, process models that you can understand. So you need to, so AI needs to come up with something that you as a human can look at, right? And we're not interested in one specific thing. We're looking at multiple issues, like performance and compliance issues. There could be many different issues. And the problem is that you don't have a structured data. It's just thousands of data tables with millions of rows and a lot of columns, right? So it's not something that is really structured and it's not labeled. So you need to use process mining to actually understand the data and create the model. And once you have that, right, you can ask AI to analyze your data, and you can look at things like, okay, are we going to lose this customer? Will this car be delivered on time? Will we have enough beds in the hospital in intensive care based on what's going on? Or even will your bag miss the airplane, right? And the businesses can make decisions, then look at those problems and actually address them before they happen. So the AI can tell you, hey, look at what's happening, you will have this problem. So you can, as a manager in business, you can look at it and go, okay, how do we fix this problem? And so the basic idea is actually to use this part here of process mining, right, that you need to use here to actually identify what's going on, to create a process model, really, really important. And then you can give it to the AI. This is where your AI comes in. And then you can train AI based on that, because just the data is too large, too complex, and AI without a process model cannot handle it. So this is the advantage of the process mining. So if you're looking at using AI, right, do not start here asking AI to predict what will happen in your processes, because that's not going to work. You need to do the legwork here, and this is what process mining is. And Celonis does combine the two approaches. So we are integrating AI for our process automation and predictive analysis. Of course, ChatGPT can even do process mining, but on a very structured, clean, simple data set without a process model. It's possible, so if you have but it is not really practical, because in reality, data sets are enormous. Just again, just to review the overview of how it works, the process mining. So the idea first, we get, like I said, we get the data and we clean it and we process it. This is the 80% of work. Usually, once you have the data, you can then the process can be discovered. You can scale it. You can modify it, and you can tell, look, this is how I want my process to do, to run based on your company policy and things like that. Afterwards, of course, you can throw more data, realistic data, what's happening, what's going on in your company, real-time data, and you can understand your issues, where are the problems, what's going on. And afterwards, you can also compare. So this is comparative process mining, and you can predict what will happen to a particular order, to a particular item, the problems that might go wrong. And once you understand all this, you can actually take action and prevent problems from happening, so you're not spending money and resources on trying to solve those problems. You can actually see the problems before they happen. And the link to automation, this is also a big thing, which is robotic process automation that is used. Traditionally, robotic process automation was done at the back end, but process mining and Celonis platform allows you to do it as a front end. So it pretends to be a person and it mimics it. And the way it's usually done, so generally the automation was done just for activities that are really, really frequent, and process mining, because you know exactly how your processes run. You could actually automate 100% of your processes. It's not advisable to do that because very specific cases, they might not always be that easy to follow. They might you might want to lead them to a human attention. But in general, you can automate a much larger range of processes, and you can do it at the front end. So with the process mining, you don't need to change anything in the back end. Importing data to Celonis, these are the formats usually it supports. So EXES, which is the standard format, and CSV, and a lot of different formats. Just Excel tables will do too, right? And I said the big advantage is real time. It's scalable. It is an excellent system. Yes, that's all for me. This is my contact information. If you want, you can email me directly if you have any more questions. And these are the contact information for questions if you like. Thank you. I think we still got 3 minutes now. If anybody has a question.
More than 2 minutes, so maybe yes, we have time for questions. Do we have any? No. Okay, please.
Is your model suitable for real-time processing?
So could you repeat the question for me? I didn't quite catch it.
Is your software? Sorry.
Is model appropriate for real-time analyzing of data?
Is the model applied to real-time?
Okay. So the way it works, when the software extracts the data, it creates the model, and then what you normally do in process science, right? You adjust the model. You look at the model as a manager and say, hey, okay, I can see what's going on in my company. Now I want to specify a specific way to do things based on the company policy or something like that. So you can do that. And afterwards, you have real-time data running, which allows you to see where people are not doing what you want them to be doing, or where the problems are happening. So then you can change the model. So basically, what you're looking at is you have the model and you look at the conformance issues, so to speak. You see if what is going on in your company conforms to the model that you want it to conform, and if it doesn't, why it doesn't conform. I think, does that answer your question?
More questions? You mentioned about AI influence for your product, and you mentioned that there are some challenges and difficulties using AI, or maybe some precautions, and maybe you could define something what could be negative impact of AI for your analysis. Is it possible to forecast this, or maybe to be aware of this?
I think the biggest problem is that people have too much expectation of AI, and they don't realize that process data is really, really complex, and it's a massive data set, and they think, oh, I can just use AI to do process mining. No, you can't. You still have to use the process data, and you have to be careful with AI, because AI just, it's a clever algorithm that sort of tells you what you tell it to say. But it's okay, it's trained and things like that. But it's actually only can tell you what the data you have. So you still need to have management skill, understanding in business management and process science before to make those decisions, and also understand things about the world, about the current situation that's going on, which AI does not. It only has your process data and things like that. So be careful with AI thinking that it can do everything. No, it can't. It only can sort of sort the data for you, and so yeah, just the thing is, be careful with AI. That's the idea.
Thank you. So yes.
Question: do you have a strategy to mitigate hallucinations in AI?
Do I have a strategy to
mitigate the hallucinations in AI output?
Mitigate the hallucinations in AI.
Oh, hallucinations in AI. We don't have a strategy for that. Basically, it's not very relevant for us. because we use AI more sort of to look at the past process data, and we don't use generic AI, if you like. We have our own, so we try to have our own system that sort of does not take into account ChatGPT or Claude or something like that. But hallucination is probably an issue, and I don't work in that department. But if you want to send me an email, I can refer to you that you can talk to someone, and maybe they will be able to answer that question a bit better.
More questions? So we are very grateful for your presentation. So basically, we could have question and answers discussion only with the keynote, as I mentioned. With our participants, we will have questions only if someone wants to ask. So please send the mail directly. So for these, our colleague from Celonis, Mindaugas, we are very grateful for your participation. So thank you very much for the presentation. And now.
I just want to say a few words just before I finish, just 1 minute. Basically, Celonis is actually started from academia. It was a student project initially, and we work very closely with academia, and we support research projects. If you guys are interested in process mining, please get in touch with me. We also help to come into your classroom and present. So be part of your course as a guest lecturer, and we provide educational resources that you can use sort of at university level, educational resources for free and guest lectures for free. So we don't charge any money for that you can use in your classroom as part of your course. So if you guys are interested, if you're teaching information technology, informatics related to business, we are welcome to get in touch with me, and we can arrange something so we can use it in your course.
I suppose we can also share the information about Celonis. We'll send something like a newsletter about that, and in case someone will be interested, so it will be able to contact.
And I'll share my slides with you, so you can. I'll email them to you, so you can make it publicly available. It's not a problem.
Okay, super. So thank you very much once again. And now we are continuing with our conference, and unfortunately our first presenter now is on the flight from Italy, so we have a recording from about his presentation, so we will listen a recording, and in case of questions you may contact with him directly, and after him we will continue with other presenters which will be online. So please, now first presenter, we will share the slide.